Okay, we're going to first look at some story problems, some new ones. You guys need to learn something new kind of here. It says a movie club charges a one-time membership fee of $25, which allows members to purchase movies for $7 each. Another club has no membership charge, but they sell the movies for $12 each. How many movies must a member purchase to make the membership worthwhile? So they're asking how many movies. So that is my answer to the problem. So I'm going to operate this the same way, but this is going to be different. Okay, you're like, oh, this again. Nope, this is going to be different. Movies is your unit, and money is the other unit. I assign the X to whatever I'm making or buying here, and the Y is always money. So per dollars per movie, basically what that means, how much is a movie? Well, it ain't $25. That's not for a movie. Well, here it's said they're $7, but then at this they're $12. So there's two of them. Now don't add them together here because you're doing either or. You're not going to be doing both of them. Okay, they're not both. They don't both apply to one person. So what I do is I put 7 and 12. They're separate. So you're like, well, what do I do with these two? Well, when I have two of those rates of change that are separate, I'm actually going to go with two lines. So XY, MXY, XY, MXY. Okay, and my M's are the 7 and the 12 that come from over here. So we got 7X and 12X. Now let's see what was going on in the beginning before there were any movies. Well, the 7Xers had the $25 membership, so that actually starts at $25. Okay? Now these other guys had no membership, so then that's 0. Okay? Now you're like, well, what do I do now? I mean, I know everything. What do I do now? What this is asking is, when are these equal? Okay? When are they equal? Don't know how to spell. So here's what I do. I set up an equals, and on one side I'm going to have 25 plus 7x. But on the other side, I'm not going to put the y. I'm going to go to the other line and just put 12x. If there was something here, like let's say there was a 30 there, I'd put 30 plus 12x over here. But there's just a 12x, so let's come over here. Okay, so I look at my x's. We got two of them, and they're on opposite sides, so I have to do the balancing. Okay, and I take away 7x and take it away there. So over here you got 5 times x, and over here you got 25. Okay, now you're down to just two terms, the 5x times x on one side, the 25 on the other. That means you're ready to divide. So 5 equals x. So we had 5 movies. After 5 movies, the cost will be the same. Okay. The reason why they'd be the same after 5 is because 7 times 5 is going to be 35, and then plus 25 is $60, and then over here 12 times 5 is also $60. So they eventually end up being the same at a certain point. Okay, Shirley is going to have the exterior of her home painted. Tim's painting charges $250 plus $14 per hour. And what that means, that's poor wording. He charges $250 to start with. That's not per hour. And then he goes 14 every hour. So he charged $250, then every hour is 14. Colorful Paints charges $22 per hour. How many hours would the job need to take for Tim's to be the better deal? So it's asking me how many hours. So if I'm going with units, we've got hours and we've got dollars. Okay, those are my 2 units, so we're going to make lines out of them. And that's X, and that's Y. Okay, dollars per hour. Well, it ain't $250. That's kind of why I explained that, because that wording's confusing. $250 is not. $14 and $22. But they're separate. You don't add them together because you're either going to get Tim's or Colorful Paints. So it's going to be 14 and 22. So now, since those are separate, we're going to go with 2 lines. Okay, so the m I know is 14, so that's 14x, and then I got 22x because it's $22 every hour. I don't know how many hours this is going to go for. Okay, now the x's start at 0. Now, but the $14 per hour had $2.50 before it, okay? So these guys paid $2.50 plus 14x plus $14 per hour. Now the other guys, it doesn't say anything for it, just says $22 per hour, so I assume that this is 0. Okay, if they don't give you, that means you should assume for now in this class that it's 0. So again, I want to know when are they equal? When is this equal to that? Okay, so 250 plus 14x. And then the other one, we just put the 22x. You notice how I don't really use the y. Okay, so here's my x's. They're on opposite sides of the equation, so I need to do the balancing. I can't just add 14 to 22 and say it's 36. It's not going to work that way. So I minus 14x, minus 14x. That's 8x, and that's 250. Okay. All right, then divide by 8. So 250 divided by 8 is going to be 31.25. Now that's actually okay that you got a decimal. Okay. That means it'd be 31 hours and like another quarter of an hour would be 15 minutes. 31 hours and 15 minutes, but you can just put 0.25. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to go over one more, I think. Stan has $200 in his account, is going to save $20 per month. Bill has $800 in his account, is going to withdraw $20 per month. For how many months will the two have equal amounts in their accounts? So I'm trying to find how many months. So I've got months and money. Okay, so X and Y. Okay, it's dollars per month. Okay, so my dollars per month, I know, well, it's not 200, $20 per month, and this guy has $20 per month, so you're like, oh, they're both the same. Well, they're actually not going to be. 20 and 20. This guy's saving, so it's positive 20, but the other guy's withdrawing, means he's taking it out, so that would be a negative 20. Again, makes you think a little bit. So we'll go with this, x comma y, mx, y, x comma y, mx, y. Okay, so I've got 20x, $20 a month, and then negative 20x, so that guy's losing $20 per month. Now let's identify beginning costs. You're like, why? Now some of you again might be wondering, why do you always put that 0 there? Because my x always begins at 0. It's like if you run a stopwatch. The time, it always begins at 0. There might be something going on while you're setting the stopwatch, but still the time starts at 0. So prior to the $20 per month, this guy has 200, Stan does. So 200 plus 20x. Okay, now the other guy, he actually has 800, so 800. Okay, so this guy 200 plus 20, I want to know when they're equal. So 200 plus 20x on that side. And over here you got 800, and you can put either minus 20x or plus negative 20x. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I look at my x terms, and they're on opposite sides, so we got to do the balancing. Now I'm going to choose to get rid of this one, so it's negative, so I'm going to add 20x, so it gets rid of it there. Then I add 20x over there, okay? Now you're like, well, don't they both cross off? No, they don't. That's a positive 20, that's a negative 20, so they're different, okay? So all we got over here is 800. 20 and 20 makes 40x, and then I also got the 200. Okay, then I will subtract the 200. You'll eventually get like so used to these equations, the more you practice them, that'll become like second, like back of your hands. 40 times something, 600, so I take 600 divided by 40, and I got 15. Okay, so 15 months. And that kind of makes sense because if I take $200 and then I add $20 every month, well, if that's for 15 months, that's $500. Now this guy had $800 and he's subtracting 20, so minus 20, but he does it every month for 15 months, so times 15, and that's $500. So you see how they match up and they work out. Okay, now here's what we're going to do on the other one. If you see me do some of these and already know what you're doing, you can just go ahead and work. Okay. Basically what this is, the purpose of this then is to see, do you know when to balance the equation with the x's or when to just add the x's? That's going to be the key on this one. Okay, so x equals, here's my equals, drop it. We don't need any ones, we don't need any plus negatives, so I box my x's. So you always got more than one, you got those two. Okay. Now, those are on, here's my equals, those happen to be on the same side, so I don't balance, I just go over here and add, and that's 9x. So I put 9x, and then we got the 8, and then we've got the 35. So I box 9x, okay? So we have an 8 outside, we'll take the 8 away. Remember, don't divide until you're down to the last two, so that's 27. And then 9 times x. So 9 times what's 27? Well, I believe it's 3, and that's right, because x equals 27 divided by 9. That's 3. Okay, next one. 5 minus 5x equals 14 minus 8x. Okay, so again, here's equals. We'll drop him. I got 8 and 5, so we're good there, but those are plus negatives. Okay. All right, no parentheses involved, so that's good. So I'm going to box those up. Now here's my equals. Now they're on opposite sides, so I can't just add them. Okay, I got to balance. What does that mean? It means you pick one. If you have two negatives, get rid of the bigger negative. So negative 8x, so plus 8x. Go ahead and get rid of that. And over here we're going to plus 8x. Okay, so over here I've just got the 14. Negative 5, and then negative 5 plus 8x is 3x, and then we have the 5 still. Okay, now I'm back to where I want to be. I can get rid of the 5. So 3x, and that's 9. So 3 times what's 9? Well, I think it's 3. Go on a limb there, and we get 3. 3 and 3. Well, got the same answer. Okay, the next one. Get rid of this. That's ridiculous. You can't solve an equation when the letters are different. Yeah. Okay, so 5x minus 3 times, and then x minus 5 equals 13. So here's my equals. I got to remember where that's at. That'd need a 1. Now let's fix any minuses. So that's a negative 3 and a negative 5. Now before I worry about the boxing, that parentheses got to go. You don't want to box if there's a parentheses. It's going to screw you up totally. Okay. So I'm going to take negative 3 and multiply it by 1x, and also negative 3 times negative 5. So that's negative 3x, and that's 15. So negative 3x plus 15. That's going to be over here. Okay, we can get rid of that nonsense. And we also have 5x. Now over here you got 13. Okay. So I box my x's, and here's my equals. You got to pay attention to where the equals is at. These are on the same side, so I don't need to balance it. I just need to add them. Okay. And that's going to be 2x. So cross those out, and over here you can put 2x, and then plus 15. And then 13. Or was it negative 15? No, it was positive. Okay. That's the only downside to scribbling out. You kind of can't look at it. Okay, so 15. If that happens, just go with what you think it was. Okay, so get rid of that. Okay, 2x. 13 minus 5 is negative 2, and it's dividing time. Divide by 2, divide by 2. That's negative 1. Okay, if you think you know this, you can go work on the assignment, okay, but if not, that's fine. 8x minus 4 equals 3x plus 6, okay, so we're solving for the x. Equals, drop it. Don't need ones, that'd be negative. Again, here's my equals. They're on opposite sides, so if you put 11x, that's wrong, okay? You can't just add them, you have to balance it. So let's pick our smaller positive, 3x minus him, get rid of it, minus him to the 8x, from the 8x, so it's going to be 5x plus negative 4 equals 6. So we got a negative 4, so I add 4, and add 4, and that's 10. And over here you got 5 times x. So I divide by 5, and x equals 2. Okay, next up, 4x minus 3 minus 2x equals negative 15. Finding what x equals. Okay, so I don't need, here's my equals. I don't need ones. Those are plus negative, though. So I box my x's up. They're on the same side, so we don't balance. Instead, we add the x terms together, and that's 2x. So it's 2x. I can cross those out. Plus negative 3. And over here you got the negative 15. Alright, so negative 3, get him out. He's a negative, so you add him. So it's negative 12, and over here you got 2 times x. So I divide by 2. And negative 6 is what you get for an answer. Okay, 7m plus 3 parentheses m plus 2 equals negative 24. Okay. The letters m, who cares? You do it the same way. 1, there's no minuses that you need, but you can't box up because the parentheses puts the kibosh on the boxing until you multiply your way through it. Okay, it's like a roadblock block that you have to multiply your way through. So 3m plus 6. Get rid of that and see what else you got over there. We got a 7m and a negative 24. So I box my m's. Are they on the same side or are they on opposite sides? Well, I think they look like they're on the same side of the equals, so same side. So we're going to add those together. We're not going to balance the equation. We're going to add those together. So 10m. And then plus 6, and then negative 24. Move the 6 over, subtract. So we got 10 times m over here, and over here 10 times m is going to equal negative 24 minus 6 is negative 30. Okay, so I divide both sides by 10, and I get negative 3. Okay, last one, and then I'm going to do one with you on the assignment. Here's your equals, drop it. Plus negative, that has a 2, that's got a 4, plus negative there. Okay, the parentheses are an obstacle, you got to multiply your way through it. So 3 times 2y, 3 times negative 5. So that's 6y and negative 15. Now that's over here, 6y plus negative 15. So you cross that crap out. There's nothing else on that side. Okay, now I start my boxing process. Well, there's 2 of them, but they're on opposite sides of the equals, so I balance, not just add them. Let's take our smaller one. He's positive, so we'll subtract him. So over here you got 2y plus a negative 15, and then you got the negative 7. So negative 15, well, I'll add 15. I'll add 15. So I got 2 times y equals 8, and then I divide by 2, and that's 4. Okay, now on the assignment, I'm actually going to go over, there's only 7, but I'm actually going to go over number 5 with you. Okay, x equals, Here's equals. We'll drop him. Drop him like a bad habit. And got a 10 plus negative. Got a 4 plus negative. Got a 3 plus negative. Okay, so there's no parentheses, so I'm free to box. But we got 3 of them. Okay, well what you do is you got to add the 2 on the same side. So 4x plus negative 3 equals 1x. So over here I got 1x plus negative 15. Over here I've got 10x plus negative 6. Okay, nice, but I'm not done here. Okay, obviously I'm not simplified enough. Now they're on opposite sides, so now I need to balance. I'm going to take the 1x away by subtracting it. So over here you got 9x plus negative 6, and over here you got negative 15. Okay, so we will box up 9x. That's a negative 6, so you add 6. Then you got 9 times x, and that's negative 9. So I divide by 9. Negative 9 divided by 9 is negative 1. Okay, that's really all I have to say. It's been informative. And I know that other packet seems kind of like busy work at this point, I guess. Just get it done.